Hello everyone, I'm Eviana. In this video, I will explain how to teach the Cartesian coordinates, subtopic of the position of a point to the x and y axis to blind students. The teaching aids we need to teach this topic is a geoboard set, which consists of a board, pins, and rubber bands.
Terdiri dari papan, kemudian paku-paku, dan juga karet.
The first step is creating the x and y axis. To create the x and y axis, we use the rubber bands. I will create the x-axis. We place the rubber bands in this position. You can position the x-axis in the middle of the board.
Dengan posisi seperti ini, kita bisa tempatkan sumbu x berada di tengah papan.
We use two rubber bands to mark the x-axis, and the dots between the rubber bands are points on the axis. So, this is the x-axis.
Ada di antara karet merupakan titik-titik yang berada di sumbu, di atas sumbu. Nah, ini sumbu x, sekarang kita akan pasang sumbu y-nya.
Now, we will create the y-axis. We place the rubber bands like before. Then, we move them so that the y-axis is also in the middle.
Kita juga bisa meminta siswa untuk memasang sumbu X dan sumbu Y ini sendiri karena relatif mudah untuk
We can also ask the student to create the X and Y axis themselves because the rubber bands are relatively easy to put on the board.
Langsung masuk ke posisi atau letak suatu titik terhadap sumbu X dan sumbu Y.
Now, we have the x and y axis on the board. If we have already explained to the student about the x and y axis, we can go straight into the topic of the position of a point to the x and y axis. First, we consider a point, such as point A. Point A has the coordinate 5, 3. As previously explained, the first number 5 represents the value for x and the number 3 represents the value for y. Then, we direct the student to place or find the point. Where is the position of point A with the coordinates 5, 3? We start from the origin at point 0, 0. Because x is positive, we move to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The value of x is now 5. And then we move again. The value of y is positive. So we move upwards. 1, 2, 3. We move 3 units. So we find that this point is point A, like so.
Titik A-nya. Seperti itu. Nah, jadi kita sudah memposisikan titik A-nya 5,3. Kemudian kita akan minta siswa untuk menentukan posisi titik A ini terhadap sumbu X dan sumbu Y-nya.
So, we have located point A, 5, 3. Now, we'll ask student to determine its position to the axis and the y-axis. We ask the student to count the distance from point A to the x-axis. The student can hold point A with their right hand and find the x-axis with their left hand. They will find that the x-axis is located below point A. So we move downwards from point A.
Ternyata sumbu X dan sumbu Y ternyata letak sumbu X berada di bawah titik A, sehingga dari titik A kita bergerak ke arah bawah. Nah, bergerak ke arah bawah supaya sampai ke sumbu X bergerak sebanyak.
To reach the x-axis, we have to move downwards 1, 2, 3, 3 units. So the distance between point A to the x-axis is 3 units.
Nah, kemudian kita coba cari juga dari titik A menuju ke sumbu.
We will also determine how many units are required to get from point A to the y-axis.
Menandai titik A-nya. Kemudian dengan tangan kiri siswa bisa mencari di mana letak sumbu X-nya.
The student can hold point A with their right hand and find the y-axis with their left hand. The y-axis is here, so we confirm that point A is to the right of the y-axis. Or, to reach the y-axis, the student has to move left. So, from point A to the y-axis, we move left. Then the students can count. Make sure to move in a straight line, parallel to the x-axis, moving towards the y-axis. We count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, we determine that from point A to the y-axis is 5 units. We can write down the distance to x-axis is 3 units and the distance to the y-axis is 5 units.
X yang pertama tadi kita dapati 3 langkah. Kemudian jarak ke sumbu Y.
So this is the position of point A, 5, 3. With the distance to the x-axis is 3 units and the distance to the y-axis is 5 units. After we determine that the distance to the x-axis is 3 units and the distance to the y-axis is 5 units, we can also conclude that the distance to the x-axis is the same as the value of y and the distance to the y-axis is the same of the value x.
Jarak ke sumbu X ini merupakan nilai Y dan juga jarak ke sumbu Y merupakan nilai dari X-nya. Seperti itu. Nah, kemudian kita coba ke contoh yang kedua, kita coba dengan
Now, we will try the second example. We'll try with another point. Let's take point B. This time, we have point B at the coordinate 3, negative 4. First, we ask the student to determine the position of point B. We start at the origin.
dari titik pusat, kemudian nilai X-nya 3. Berarti kalau 3 kita bergerak ke
The X value is 3. So we move to the right. 1, 2, 3. Moving to the right 3 units. We reach this point. Then the value of Y is negative 4. So we move downwards 4 units. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we find that the point B is here. After we determine that point B is here, we ask the student to determine the position of point B to the x-axis and y-axis.
Kemudian kita juga minta siswa untuk menentukan di mana nih letak titik B terhadap sumbu X dan sumbu Y. Kita awali
We start by determining the distance from point B to the x-axis. We ask the student to hold point B with their right hand, while their left hand try to find the x-axis. The x-axis is here.
sumbu X berada di sini. Berarti letak
This means point B is below the x-axis, or we go upwards from point B to the x-axis. Now we count the distance from point B. 1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
We find that the distance to the x-axis is 4 units. Now, we position the student's right hand on point B, while their left hand try to find the y-axis.
Dari titik B, kita posisikan tangan kanan siswa di titik B, kemudian dengan tangan kanan mencari di mana letak sumbu Y-nya. Sekarang sumbu Y.
So, the y-axis is here. So, we find that from point B to the y-axis, we move left. We ask the student to go left in a straight line. 1, 2, 3. And the distance is 3 units.
Bergerak lurus ke kiri, berarti didapati 1, 2, 3.
The distance to the y-axis is 3 units. This is the difference. For point A, the x value and the y value are both positive, but for point B, the y value is negative. Here we can say to the student that from the x-axis to point B, we go downwards. So this distance of 4 units is negative.
Dan nilai Y-nya sama-sama positif, namun di sini untuk nilai Y-nya itu bernilai negatif. Jadi di
In
sini
contrast,
kita
if we move from the y-axis to point B, we move to the right, which means the value of x is positive.
bawah. Sehingga yang jaraknya 4 satuan ini akan bernilai negatif. Nah, kebalikannya dari sumbu Y untuk bergerak ke arah titik B ini bergerak ke arah kanan, yang berarti nilai X-nya akan bernilai positif. Seperti itu.
Lastly, point D, we will try with the coordinates negative 1, negative 5.
-5. Nah, kita coba tentukan
We will determine the position of point D. We start from the origin, the value of x is negative, so we move 1 unit to the left. The value of y is negative 2, so we move downwards 5 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is where point D is located.
Nah, sama seperti tadi, dari titik D menuju ke sumbu X, jarak ke sumbu X,
Just like last time, the distance from point D to the x-axis, we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, the distance to the x-axis is 5 units. The distance to the y-axis, it feels very close. It is because it is indeed closer compared to the other points. This time we determine that the distance is 1 unit. Because we move downwards from the x-axis to point D, this means the value of y is negative.
ini ke arah bawah yang berarti nilai y-nya negatif, dan dari sumbu y ke titik D itu ke arah
And we go left from the y-axis to point D. So the value of x is negative. So point D is negative 1, negative 5. Both are negative. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.